when I was putting together a profile that we did on her in our magazine, we have like an investigator of the month, and she was that for a couple months ago. And so, yeah, in this interview, she details, blow by blow, what happened, what she saw, what the aftermath. So she goes into detail about this whole event. I'm really excited to get this interview out.
Yeah, and that really is a really, really interesting topic. She's going to be talking at the Congress, too, in February, isn't she?
Yeah, she's going to be speaking at the UFO Congress, and it's kind of exciting. And this is news that we haven't gotten out yet, actually, is that we've just also confirmed Colonel Halt,
wow.
Charles Halt, from Rendlesham Forest incident.
Yeah.
And he's actually the highest-ranked military officer to be out speaking about a UFO event that he's experienced. So that's exciting, and I bring that up because Linda Howe's also going to be speaking on Rendlesham Forest, and she's going to have accompanying her with her Q&A John Burroughs and James Peniston.
Yeah.
Who are really having pretty much all of the main witnesses from the Rendlesham Forest event speaking at our conference, which is great because it's the 30th anniversary.
Yeah, exactly. This is like the mega Congress in history. Like, you've got the top-notch speakers. I mean, look, Travis Walton, Linda Howe, Michael Schratt, Kathleen Martin, who I spoke to a few months back. She's an amazing lady. Didn't you solidified up Paul Hellyer too, didn't you, for this?
Yeah, Paul Hellyer we have, which is really exciting. I think he's just a wonderful person. I'm reading his book now.
I need a copy.
Reviewing it in our magazine, but he's a wonderful person speaking about, the importance of people getting along, the importance of paying attention to our the earth and treating it better, and how we're not really going to make it if we don't make these major changes, including with, this is what I think is incredible. He's an ex-Minister of Defense. He's really cabinet member level of a G8 country. That's as high as you can get at someone talking about UFOs. He hasn't had his own experience, but and he's talking at the policy level, and he's talking about things that people think are very conspiratorial. I know Richard Dolan talks a lot about this, and others, Stephen Greer, and he talks about how the world is ran by these rich elitists. It's not, the governments, presidents, they all have limited power. They don't have as much power as the public perceives, when really everybody's kind of almost enslaved partially by these very rich people who really have the major influence. And he talks about that, and about how governments have to get out from under that, and how, these people use us and our tax money, essentially, and our people. One of the profound things he talks about, I think, is that, it's not the people who choose to go to war, but it's the people who pay for it through their taxes, and it's the people who send their sons and daughters out to die in the battlefield.
Yeah.
Which is true, So I just love his perspective, in that he's out talking about this stuff, and then he adds in there that he's discovered that UFOs are real, Roswell was real, the government, especially the American government, hiding all of this important information from us, and he's outspoken about all of it. Well,
Alejandro, he lives in the igloo down from my igloo here in Canada, so I threw a beaver at him, and he came over into the igloo, and we had a little interview ourselves. And maybe it's a Canadian thing. Obviously it's not. I've seen so many documentaries in the US, but I've come to the same conclusions in my life that he has, and we related this to one another about, this elite stronghold, the government behind the government. He's got a specific term for it. Like a permanent government and a fixed government, or an elected government. Like, there's two. It's the one ran by the corporations, and then there's the puppet government, right? The elected officials.
Yeah.
So he really, really does have an inspiring kind of perspective on it all, doesn't he? He's so positive.
Yeah, he's a wonderful person, and his dialogue, he speaks like the politicians, the high-level cabinet member politicians, the president. That's how he speaks. He uses that same vernacular that they use. And so it's exciting because it's insight, really, too, into what discussions would be like at a very high level around these sort of issues. And it kind of gives hope that, hopefully that sort of open dialogue will happen soon. But it's also addressing the issues that are of concern, and there's got to be others like him that just aren't talking about it in other countries who are concerned that the United States is hoarding this information.
Yeah, agreed. I think I'm done tooting my own horn there. I think I twice mentioned the people I've also interviewed. How rude.
Hey, no, that's cool. Sounds like you've got some awesome interviews.
Oh, it's been fun, It's been weird how it all kind of ended up here for me. But yeah, it's been a real blast, and it's really inspiring. I'm passionate about it, too. All I got to do now is get some funding, But yeah, that's the key. That's
always the hard part.
Yeah, match the passion with the bucks, baby. But let's talk about this Congress, because there are, that was my segue with Paul Hellyer. You got this huge arsenal of guests. It's like the dream team. You've got this awesome day of a film fest, and everybody can rate the films. There's a Skywatchers event. It's 4 days essentially, 23rd to 27th in beautiful Arizona, picturesque, at the Fort McDowell Resort and Casino, and it used to be for the last 3 decades, you said, at Laughlin, Nevada, right?
It's been for the last 8 years. I think it was in Laughlin.
Okay, but I thought it was the 20th anniversary. Is it the 20th or 30th?
Yes, this is the 20th.
Okay, cool.
20th anniversary of the Congress. 20th anniversary of the Rendlesham event.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. But this is a huge deal, man. How the heck did you? Was it you that instigated this Congress?
For us to run it?
Yeah.
Not really. It was something my boss had wanted to do. His vision was kind of to put together a UFO group and to acquire the Congress, to create a magazine, and a lot of what we're doing. And so that was his idea. And, at first that whole idea was a bit overwhelming, and it has been. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But, it's something like a lot of what I had done, prior to this year, which was a lot of stuff, was, I had my regular 40-hour, really 40+, because I was a manager-hour job.
Yeah.
And on the weekends and the evenings, I would do all this other stuff. So now I can focus just on this. Of course, magazine's a lot of work, and so is the Congress, but we're getting it done. And I'm really excited about the lineup. I think that we have a great group of people. I'm excited not just to present these people and to have people see them. A lot of them people have seen before, but some not. And but to have all of these people together, that's one of the great things about the UFO Congress. It's kind of like a conference or a get-together for the field, because you have a lot of these researchers there and mingling and talking, and by now, we hang out with them and talk with them so often. They're really our friends. Antonio's, of course, known these guys for decades, so it's great to get them all together, because really there are these creative juices that kind of flow, and people get inspired by each other, and they get new ideas and new contacts, and new projects arise from that. In fact, this, which is kind of mind-blowing, last year's Congress, I had interviewed a guy named Bryce Zabel who did Dark Skies.
Yeah.
Someone you should get on your show if you haven't, because he's great.
Sure.
He's worked on Taken. He's worked on
love that show.
Hollywood on UFO stuff. And I saw him, and he's real excited, and he's like, "Oh, Alejandro, let me tell you about these projects I want to work on." And he was telling me, and we're talking. And then he's like, "Oh, there's Rich Dolan. I'm supposed to meet him, so I'll talk to you in a minute." So that was the first time they had ever met, actually. And I hadn't known that. And they met, and Bryce pitched some ideas that he wanted to work with Dolan on. And now here we are a year later, and they've already got this co-written book out after disclosure that Dolan will be talking about at the conference. And it's this wonderful book about speculating how may disclosure come about and what may it look like. So it's cool that, you know, projects like that are able to be created at these things too.
It sounds like a celebrity story. You're like the John Leguizamo of ufology or something, eh?
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's cool.
It's very cool. And then, like you said, this lineup's really great. I mean, we have Nancy Talbot, which is, I think, the best science when it comes to crop circles, and she's going to be sharing updates. We've got Carol Rosin, who I don't think she's spoken for a long time, and she is in the aerospace industry, worked with Werner von Braun.
Wow.
She says, told her about UFOs and stuff, and about possible fake UFO invasion, kind of like Star Wars, you know, the whole trilogy where they have the Clone Wars, where there's these fake cloned aliens that are going to attack type of thing, like Stephen Greer talks about.
Are you talking about Project Bluebeam? Or the next step? Are you talking about Project Bluebeam or a step beyond that?
Well, back then, it was a very long time ago, so I don't know how far they were in development of this whole project, but essentially he just warned her that they're going to talk about an alien threat and it's not going to be real.
Oh, sorry, you're talking about von Braun here. You're talking about von Braun, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. One very controversial speaker we're having is John Alexander, who is a retired Army colonel. He has his new book coming out about UFOs, and he's going to be releasing the book at the Congress, so that's exciting. It's going to be people's first opportunity to get this book, and he's going to talk about it, and everybody's really curious in what he's going to say. Is he going to debunk the whole UFO thing? Is he not? He did have this working group of intelligence people who looked into UFOs and what the government may have known, and often he's kind of an apologist for the government about, there's UFOs, but the government really doesn't know as much as we think they do. So we'll see what he has to say. Some people think, he's a debunker, you shouldn't have that guy there. But with him releasing his book, we want to hear what he has to say, and I would think that if he's writing a book on UFOs and he wants to come and talk to a UFO group about it, that it's got to have some kind of information in there, or he's not going to sell any books if he's just debunking everything.
Yeah.
His books aren't going to sell very well. He's hopeful they will sell good there. So
right.
A lot of the newsmakers, practically all of the newsmakers in UFOs this year, we've got speaking, so they'll be able to talk about.
I guess I should tell everybody out in the waves there that if you haven't guessed it already, this is the largest UFO Congress in the U.S. There's a ton of expert ufologists, government officials, and respected scientists in regards to UFOs, ETs, crop circles, abductions, and more. So you should go out there, go to openminds.tv and click on the Congress link there. Get yourself some tickets. Go down there and enjoy the beautiful, warm Arizona weather, and buy Alejandro a beer, right?
Yeah, or that would be great. Or just shake my hand and say hello. I mean, I'd love to meet people. And from Canada, I understand that there's some really cheap flights to Arizona you can get. Yeah.
You know what?
Really big deals.
It would be like meeting Santa Claus or something to be able to make this trip, because this is like one of the. I'm not being paid to plug this Congress or anything, or you or your magazine or whatever. But I just love it so much, the hard work you put into it. It'd be a dream come true for anybody to go down here interested in this subject, because it's just an amazing panel with all kinds of incredible events. This is like the event, like there's the Roswell Festival, which is huge. We had the Shag Harbor Festival here in August, which was huge. But this UFO Congress, this is a big deal in a beautiful setting and a very spiritual center there in Arizona. Can I ask you, in a future episode of the Unified Field, I want to have some indigenous guests on talking about prophecy. You had a couple guests on your program. I think it's David Wax's Bear and Joseph Apollo. love to have someone like that on the program. It looks like you've got another guest like that at the Congress that I wanted to ask you about.